70% of women do not identify as feminists, according to a new poll. Only 30% of women believe in the feminist agenda, which is an absolute failure considering that the sole cause and demographic they are fighting for doesn't support them. But why is that? Why is there so many women denouncing feminism? Is it because feminism has lied to them about many things? But most important of all, it has lied to them about how their career is the most important thing, and that being like a man and doing the things that they do will make a woman happy. Middle-aged women who have prioritized their career over family are categorically the most depressed demographic. Their counterparts, which have decided to have children and family, are far happier and content with their lives, according to a new study. Feminism has lied to women about how submission to a man is sexist and that women should be masculinized and men should be feminized in order to bridge the gap of so-called equality. That's a false view of equality. Men and women are different and will always remain different, and thanks God for that. That doesn't mean they can't be equal. Men and women are different due to a host of biological reasons. It's ignorant to think that billions of years of evolution can be overwritten by social engineering. Men are good at some jobs and women are better at others, and that should be respected as such. That doesn't mean women can't do what a man does, or that a man can't do what a woman does. However, it all boils down to interests and choices, which gives us different outcomes in society. We should all strive for equality of opportunity and not for equality of outcome, contrary to what the feminist movement has strived for. Modern feminism does not want equality of opportunity, but instead it advocates for equality of outcome. This means it does not actually want equality between men and women, but instead a tilted playing field in favor of women. It paints this false worldview that somehow women are and have always been dominated by men, and that we live in a patriarchy in which all the evil men in the world dictate the power, status and money, and the poor women are always the victim. At its core, the feminist movement has failed because it has made men the enemy. They think that by trashing men, they will improve the state of women, but they have sadly mistaken, as now we have a dynamic of weak men and angry women. Neither party is winning, and the resentment is brewing in both sexes. They are constantly offended by everything, which has created a malevolent environment in which you can't say anything without being taken out of context and being labeled as a sexist. It is also bad for society because we are indirectly telling young boys that if you have ambitions, then you are evil, sexist, and will be part of the patriarchy, and telling young girls that they are victimized and hence should be vigilant and narcissistic. This has led to women no longer having access to powerful, dominant and masculine men who they can submit to for love and protection. And also men that have less access to feminine, nurturing and caring women who they can actually love and adore. The most beautiful union in the world is between a masculine man and a feminine woman. This has led to the breakdown of marriage and the family unit, which has negative implications for society as a whole. Feminists also ignore the fact that most people victims of violent crimes are men, most people dying in wars are men, most people committing suicides are men, most people living in the streets are men, most people losing out to their children and the fortunes in courts are men, most people doing worse in schools are men. So where's the dominance here exactly? How are women the oppressed demographic when it's literally all men at the bottom of society? It's almost as if everything that happens to men is men's fault, and everything that happens to women is also men's fault. They also don't really care about women's rights being violated in other countries such as Iran, Afghanistan, and majority of the Arab world, where women are second-class citizens. Again, as with most left-wing movements, there is a cowardice and virtue signaling element at the heart of it, which exposes its hypocrisy. Instead of aiming to seek justice for women around the world, who are actually having sexist, misogynistic and dictatorship-like laws which hold women down, they aim at bringing down the so-called patriarchy in countries that have done the most for them. The feminists lie about the gender pay gap. What the gender pay gap means is that women earn 71p to a man's pound over a lifetime. I repeat, over a lifetime. That doesn't mean that men get paid more than women for doing the same job. That has been illegal since the 1970s. There are over 30 reasons for the gender pay gap, and not one of them is sex. One reason is that men and women are more likely to make different decisions. In Scandinavian countries, which have gone further than any other country in the world to make society as egalitarian as possible, meaning to eliminate the difference between men and women, the difference between men and women has increased. That's represented in the choices that men and women make in a recent study. 20-1 female nurses to male nurses, and the same male engineers to female engineers. That is a result of conscious egalitarian lawmaking, which has led to men and women making different decisions, and hence their differences increasing. Additionally, men are also more likely to work in STEMs, science, technology, engineering, and maths, which have higher wages. They are more likely to do more dangerous jobs, such as special forces. They are more likely to work outside, and they are more likely to travel in pursuit of their career ambitions. On the other hand, women are more likely to do part-time work, more likely to do volunteering work, less likely to get jobs in STEMs, and less likely to sacrifice their lives in pursuit of a career. Another reason is that women tend to choose motherhood, especially towards their late 20s and early 30s. Women naturally take more of a burden of the reproduction process because they are the ones who have to get pregnant, give birth, and also raise the child, as the child itself is more dependent on the mother. Women's nervous system has been also evolved over the mother-infant dyad. This hurts women's career, as they would have to take multiple months or even years out of work at the height of their careers, which obviously has a negative impact on their overall career trajectory. Another reason is that men are more judged on their socioeconomic status, as that is the best predictor for them to find a suitable partner. The best predictor for women is youthfulness and attractiveness. Hence, there is more of a motivation on men's behalf to work hard and reach milestone career goals. Sex and relationships are not trivial matters, and one of the best motivating factors in our decision making. In the list of top 100 billionaires in the world, all the women on the list are either divorcees or inherited their wealths from their fathers. Furthermore, the feminist argument about the fact that there is not enough female CEOs or women in positions of power. But then again, in order to become a CEO, you must work 80 or 90 hours a week, non-stop, specialized for 20 or 30 years, especially if you want to become a CEO of an SP 500 company. Reaching positions of power requires consistency over a long period of time, which I already mentioned is harder for women, for the reasons I already explained. Additionally, why are the feminists so concerned with attractive, powerful, and high-paying jobs? And do not look at the fact that 95% of sewage disposal workers are men, 95% of bricklayers are men, 95% of waste collectors are men. I could go on. So my question to the feminists out there is that where is the outcry and the wish for equal representation in these type of jobs? Why is it only positions of power that they want equal representation for and not across the board? Also, the feminists do not talk about the fact that women do just fine, in fact better than men in their 20s. Women in their 20s earn more than men in their 20s. It's only 30s and 40s and beyond where men start taking over. And that's for the reason I already explained, but also because it takes men longer to fully mature biologically and mentally. Additionally, female models earn more than male models by a substantial amount. I have worked in that industry myself in the past, and I know there are far more work for females with higher wages. David Gandhi, the most famous male supermodel, earns about $250,000, whereas Kylie Jenner earns more than $25 million per year. Again, where is the outcry from feminists to equate the salaries of male and female models? But obviously, you do not see anyone complaining about that because pay is correlated to the amount of revenue that is generated. Female models generate more money than their male counterparts, so of course they should be paid more. That's equivalent to male to female footballers. Male footballers generate much higher revenue than female football players. Hence why they should be paid more. However, that was also difficult to fathom for such feminists such as Megan Rapinoe, who advocated for equal pay for male and female football players. The Men's World Cup generated $6 billion compared to $180 million generated by the Female World Cup. So how can you have equal pay when the men's generated 40 times more than the women's game? What they don't tell you is that a fraction of the money generated by the men's game goes towards developing the women's game. and not the other way around. Also, women themselves are not as interested in female sports as men are in the men's sports. And that is represented in the fact that women do not spend as much money on sporting events and merchandise and general engagement. However, that is the opposite when it comes to things like cosmetics, clothing and accessories. That's why female models get paid more than male models, because there is a bigger market for them, as 80% of the consumer decisions are made by women. Hence why the feminist notion that men make more than women is false. It all boils down to interests and career choices. Looking at other factors which predict salary and wages, such as in terms of personality predictors, OCEAN, which stands for openness, conscientiousness, extrovertedness, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Men and women have different temperaments. Women tend to be more agreeable and also more neurotic than men, both of which negatively impacts career aspirations. Neuroticism basically means experience of negative emotions such as depression and anxiety. Men tend to be more disagreeable, which positively predicts success as it makes them more ruthless in their career aspirations. That's not to say that women can't be disagreeable or that men can't be neurotic. But when you look at the bigger picture and take the law of averages into account, the most disagreeable person out of a pool of 100 people is always a man, and the most agreeable is always a woman. The extremes of the distribution matter in making such analysis, and hence, due to their different temperaments, men and women make more money over a lifetime compared to their female counterparts. Finally, the feminists movement has betrayed women and their cause. What started as a genuine call for equal rights has now evolved into an ideological indoctrination movement in which everything is explained through the women being dominated by men in society, which is at its core is an oppressor versus oppressed narrative perpetrated by Karl Marx in the 19th century, which led to the horrors of communism and socialism in the 20th century. That is a false narrative of equality. It advocates for equality of outcome rather than equality of opportunity. We should stop it, as it's both hurting men, women, and society in general. Thank you for watching this video. If I've missed anything, let me know. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Till next time.